You are listening to the Free Spirit Astrology Podcast. Welcome to the Free Spirit Astrology Podcast. I am your host, Brandy Williams, and I am here on a Wednesday morning with some cartoons playing in the background, and my daughter is right here next to me. So if you hear some noise, it's fine. We're fine. We're all doing good. So, we started the week with the Cancer full moon and several other cross conversations from the other planets. So, let's talk about it. Monday, January 13th, we had a full moon in Cancer, and full moons are when the moon and the sun are opposite each other in opposite signs. So the moon was at 24 degrees of Cancer and the sun was at 24 degrees of Capricorn, bringing some things into view, some revelations, some new understandings about our emotions and how we prioritize our emotional safety and self-nurture. So Cancer full moons are usually soft and squishy, and you want to rest and, be with your loved ones and just cuddle. It's very pleasant, but this particular Cancer full moon is a bit different because it's conjunct Mars retrograde in Cancer. And if you were here last week and a few weeks before, you would know that Mars is our planet of how we stand up for ourselves and how we are motivated to get the things that we want out of life. And it is in a state of review, and it is reviewing how it shows up for its own emotional and internal well-being. So with the moon, which is all about our emotions and our bodies and our complex inner feelings, being with Mars in the moon sign of Cancer, we could definitely feel some increased sense of resentments this week, some frustrations, just also not feeling like taking care of the things that we normally take care of. We could be really slow to do that this week. That sun in Capricorn represents all the things we feel responsible for, all the people we feel responsible for, the to-do lists, work, how we go out in the world and provide and build wealth and create legacies to leave behind, all the things we want to take care of. But this moon in Cancer is like, cool story, Cap. I'm going to let you finish, let you be the go get the bag, all that stuff. But girl, I am tired. I'm drained. I am not feeling appreciated. My emotional well is dry. So this is a time where we are seriously thinking about our internal wealth, our internal security, and how we can bring some of that hard work and hustle and dedication in-house. Can you give some of that to me? So we are coming up against themes of how to put ourselves on the to-do list, because we're so good at putting other things on the to-do list. And that's because we feel like if we don't, things are going to fall apart. We'll lose control and we'll be homeless and die. Totally understandable. But internally, emotionally, psychologically, if you don't take care of yourself, you're gonna lack the ability to go out and do those things because you just on E. We're on E. So the to-do list this week can feel harder than usual. The things that we normally do, folding the clothes, making sure, our routines are set up, even going to work, all of that just seems to feel kind of hard, especially for the cardinal signs. If you are a cardinal sign rising, so that is Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn, we seem to feel like there is this struggle, this opposition happening, this how do I show up in the world and how do I reserve enough to bring home for myself and my family? How do I not allow external things to trigger me and have me feeling salty in-house, so that I'm feeling anger inside of my body, anger with my close family members and just in my household, things like that. So we're really coming up against those things, and other rising signs can be feeling it as well with some stuff that's going to happen this week. Yeah, Mars is sitting next to that moon, and we already know what Mars is on. Mars been tired. Mars is tired of holding his tongue in Cancer, because holding our tongues is a Cancer theme. Indirectly saying what we want because we're like, I don't want to like make any waves. Like Mars sick of that shit. Skimming on what we need to feel safe and nurtured, because sometimes we have to give those things to our children and our staff and other people, and they need us, but we also need us. And so Mars is realizing that hustling and forging up the mountain on E just ain't it. So, this is a time where we are prioritizing our self care, our self nurture, putting that first, and to restore our own self love so that we can have some love to give. And if you see other people being snappy, not really speaking, you haven't heard from some of your A1s and your friends and stuff in a while, people are seeming distant. That's because just we ain't got it. They don't have it either. Nobody has it. We don't have it. We're tired. We're emotionally tired. We are unlearning things. And as we continue to unlearn past conditioning, many of us are still feeling raw and triggered about things from the past. And there are things going on in our present experiences that are activating those past self betrayals. So, our planet of radical liberation and rebelliousness and all the things that are going past the structures and the norms, Uranus, who is still retrograde in the sign of Taurus, is speaking to the sun and the moon, giving downloads and epiphanies on how to come into greater work life balance to prioritize our emotions, and is bringing new ideas, new ways of making money, and working smarter, not harder. Neptune, our planet of spirituality and refinement and dreams and fantasies, who is still in Pisces, is also supporting Mars retrograde in Cancer, refining the ways we want to respond to some of these triggers, giving us the wisdom to understand what's our responsibility and what we could be projecting onto others, and also what others could be projecting onto us. In adulthood, our emotional safety will always be our responsibility. It is always our responsibility to put ourselves in position to be emotionally safe. So if you have to distance yourself, if you have to bring your own safety, like my coach says, you can bring your own safety into situations. That takes thought work. That takes, shadow work and emotional mindset work. If you have to get away from people who make you feel like shit, we all have a choice. Our emotional safety will always be our responsibility in adulthood. Children cannot create their own emotional safety because they don't have no freedoms. So, because they're minors. Anyways, the nodes are also in their new signs, communicating with this full moon and asking us, where in our lives do we need to let go and let God? Where do we need to trust more and release control on something so that we can have the ability to move into situations that make us feel emotionally safe? Because when we trust the process and loosen up our need to control something, we make room for our creative power to show up. And sometimes that creative power is just, I don't want to work here anymore. I'm going to find a new job. I can't take it. This environment is very toxic. On January 14th, we have Venus in Pisces making a square to Jupiter and Gemini. So the two benefics, or the most positive planets, getting together for a good old time. When these two planets get together, you always want to watch out for overindulging, shopping, eating, because Venus is the goddess of pleasure and money and friendship. And she likes to do things, and she's very creative in Pisces. She's also very fluid and feminine, and she is very good at receiving, and she likes to daydream and escape sometimes. And Jupiter is the planet of expansion. He on what you on. I mean, he has boundaries too because he represents the law, but Jupiter is about abundance and expansion. And when it's in Gemini, Jupiter brings multiple ideas to the situation, away on, and just really good at thinking about all the possibilities. So, just like the North Node says, some of us are going to take heed and going to go easy this week. We're going to relax. We're like, listen, if it gets done, it gets done. If it don't, I mean, I'm gonna take this nap. And when we're relaxed and we're feeling excited and curious and we're more open, and the creative ideas could be flowing. Definitely might not feel like being super productive today unless it's fun and it's contributing to this creative surge. But some of these ideas that we have can be a little romantic, a little ungrounded, a little unrealistic. So we are going to be sitting with the ideas. And this week, we are going to be hit with a reality check towards the end of the week. We'll talk about that in a minute. But nonetheless, we're wanting to make something happen with these new creative ideas. And then on January 15th, the Sun in Capricorn opposes Mars retrograde in Cancer. That energy has been building up until today we are going to be in an exact opposition with the sun, and Mars, and pretty tight opposition tomorrow as well. This is indicating that it's time. It's time to think about doing the new things again. Remember, if you've been coming back, I've been saying no new things. Mars is in retrograde. We are unlearning how to do things to please others and to embark on things that look more like our authentic selves. So while we're unlearning, we might run into some issues and things might not pan out. But now it is a gestation period to plant new seeds, to do new things. Some of us have been feeling amped up about these new creative ideas that we've been receiving this week, new downloads and epiphanies that we've been receiving. And this is the time to determine which ideas we want to plant and grow. So Mars in retrograde being opposite the sun is kind of like at his culmination point. Every planet has a cycle, and so Mars is at the point of his cycle where it's giving full moon kind of energy. It's kind of like a full Mars because he's directly opposite the sun, just like the moon is opposite the sun when she's full. And so this is a time that we also want to release and cut out things that are not working, things that need to be cut out, people that need to be cut out. It's always a good time to cut them loose strings. And some things are just coming to a beautiful end and it's time to move on, like a graduation. Like, okay, you don't work here anymore and it's no hard feelings. I'm actually proud of you. I'm happy. So we'll see some things like that happening. Another way to look at this transit and this opposition is that our ideas and pursuits could involve other people or obligations. So this can affect what we get to say yes to pertaining to those ideas that we're coming up with earlier this week. So we can see conflicts with authority, even our own authority, or just conflicts with the ability to do something or to not do something. For example, let's say you're a parent and you've just been invited to Paris for a career opportunity, some big gig, right? And you've been waiting on that opportunity, but you didn't know it's going to be in Paris. And they're like, "Can you come tonight? I have a private jet waiting for you." Or, hop on the red eye, all expenses paid. You can tell my Neptune is in the first house because I have a big imagination, right? But you got kids. You can't hop on no plane to France. You want to? What you gonna do with the babies? Um, or even a last minute dinner downtown. Like, hey, there's a big opportunity on the table. It's big money on the table. Can you be there tonight? Now, we're going to make a will in a way. Where there's a will, we're going to make a way, should I say. But it's still an obstacle. It's a barrier because now you got to find a babysitter. You got to do this. What am I going to do with the baby? I hope my mama say yes. So those are kind of like the themes that we come up against when the sun is opposing Mars, our will versus, you know, our purpose versus like, can we make that happen? And it's in retrograde. So, barriers. And that could be deflating, that could feel frustrating. And yeah, so those are some things. Another way to look at this transit is, let's say you are in a partnership, you're in a business partnership, you're like, whatever, co owning or regulating something, and you are wanting to bring these new creative ideas on board, and you have a good feeling about it. You feel like this is the good move to make, and your team is like, sure, Jan, yeah, that's not feasible, but thanks. And maybe this has been going on multiple times and you're just really tired of feeling rejected. And so that sun opposite Mars can bring some big ego dynamics that are coming to a boiling point. So usually this is a situation that has happened more than right now. And now it's just like, look, I'm sick of them always rejecting my stuff. So you may feel the need to confront, but so you may feel the need to confront, and there can be clashes between values, ideas, and strategies and decisions and all that stuff. But the good thing is, because this is the sun we're talking about, we are aware of what is attached to our ego, what is coming up against, what our ego is coming up against and how our ego feels bruised. So there is self awareness here as opposed to it being Pluto, which would kind of come up out of the blue. Like, oh, I didn't know that was going to piss me off. But this is like, you know what? I don't like that. And if you've been doing the work, and if you've been coming to the podcast and listening and getting these gems and being ready, so you staying ready, so you don't have to get ready, okay, this is one of them situations where they tested my gangster. But I think I'm gonna say something. And because you are practicing this new self-awareness and you got this wisdom, you can have a conversation that can involve some self-restraint and avoiding any emotional eruptions. Finally, January 18th, Venus makes a conjunction to Saturn. Both are in Pisces. So this is bringing a sobering effect to all those creative ideas we've been coming up with this week. That Venus and Jupiter was bringing big hopes, big ideas, big dreams. And Saturn is like, nah, that's not going to work. Again, this could be another person disagreeing. Perhaps this is your collaboration partner and it's just like, no, I don't think so. Or this could just be ways of coming off of a high and making something happen in a more realistic and practical way. Rambo, come on now, buddy. You are breathing all on my mic. This is my Frenchie. He wants some love. So yeah, Venus, like I said, is very romantic and she's feminine and she's creative. And Pisces can be dreamy and like, let's just make that dream happen. And of course, Jupiter is just like, listen, we can make it happen. Like, we could do this, we could do that. We can fly to the moon. And Saturn is like, wait, calm down, slow your roll. We are, in fact, not top flight security of the world. We are Craig and Day Day. Did you forget? And for all of y'all Friday After Next fans, y'all get it. Okay, if you know, you know. But yes, this is kind of giving a little buzzkill, a little, let me put a little nail in the balloon and bring you back down a little bit. I'm not saying it can't happen, but we're not flying to the moon, Day Day. Anyways, I'm done. A little recap. So we are figuring things out, figuring out what we need, putting it on the to-do list and not just all the other chores. We're gonna be our own, well, not chore, but we're gonna put ourselves on a list. Me first, okay? We want to remember that we are still in a slowdown. So, yes, it is time to think about doing something new, but this is just the gestation period. Let me tell you, the 2 lines just showed up on the stick, okay? It just showed up on the business stick, on the creative stick. You just found out you was pregnant. But the baby has a ways to go. We're not putting on the parachute gear and loading up the plane and jumping out right now. We're gonna slow walk this because this is gonna be done right. This is your year. Baby girl, this is your year, okay? And so if things start to feel blocked or they're still feeling blocked or, you're coming up against some obstacles, ideas are falling through, pursuits are falling through, wires getting crossed with the team and your partner and there may be some things that we are not seeing eye to eye on. Just take that as a sign that we need to slow down and let the oracle speak. Whatever that looks like for you, speaks in dreams and prayers and tarot in a reading. And just know that when we stop fighting or forcing things to happen, the next piece of the puzzle will fall into our lap. And that is all I have for this week. I hope you come back next week because we're going to talk about how that new Aquarius sun is going to be conjunct to Pluto. So Pluto's coming back into the mix pretty significant next week. The plot thickens. Just want to let you know, I am doing year ahead presentations where I send you a Zoom recording talking about the major points of astrology pertaining to your personal birth chart. It's going to be a beautiful slide show, and I'm going to be talking over it. It's going to be about a 60-minute Zoom recording. The price is $111, just like my general birth chart readings. Yeah. Let me know if you want to know what's up for you for the year, because big things are happening, lots of changes. So I will definitely see you in the next one. I appreciate and love all of you. Thank you for listening in. Have a good day. Bye-bye. You are listening to the Free Spirit Astrology Podcast.